An early morning shooting leaves another murder suspect on bail dead, and police appealing to the public for help in finding the shooter. Plus, and the winner is, after more than 20 years, the Bahamas Games return to find out which island dominated in the medal count and who took the top spot. And later, a heartwarming reunion story. If you're a pet lover, you're going to want to hear how a beloved family dog was reunited with his family. Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. The 6 Bahamas Games now one for the history books. It was an intense competition as athletes from all the major islands competed in some of the most intense competitions in over 2 decades. Tonight, we have a full breakdown of the medals, outstanding athletes, and news of the next games. We'll get to those details in a moment, but first, a Sunday beach outing turns tragic for an elderly man on Goodman's Bay today. Police were called to the popular beach on Western New Providence after 2 o'clock this afternoon after receiving reports of the drowning. When Our News arrived on the scene, the victim's body was still on the shore. Eyewitnesses recalling how a typical afternoon on Goodman's Beach turned tragic.
You know, to see someone fighting for their life, it sort of put a damper because everybody stopped what they were doing, and it was just, you know, we were concerned, just hoping and praying that the person could be resuscitated. But you know, after we saw they had given up, like when we saw the ambulance pull up, and anytime you see them going away with the gurney, and that we know that there was no, you know, that was it.
The unusually high temperatures are the reason for high numbers on the beaches these past few weeks. Today was no different. While police gave no update on the scene, Our News was able to speak with this beachgoer who says she watched lifeguards try to save the victim.
Yeah, there were 3 active lifeguards when the guy was pulled from the water, and I must say they put they're all in all trying to revive the gentleman. They pushed, they pumped, they did the CPR, they did the chest compression, the defibrillator. They used that, and it was they fought, and I watched them, and they fought for this man's life. So
how did you feel watching that? What did you feel inside?
I was praying, you know, that God would spare him his life.
We will continue to follow this story. Be sure to follow ournews.bs for the latest. Police tonight are looking for a suspect they say is responsible for the latest homicide. The incident happened around 3 this morning when the victim was leaving a nightclub in Fox Hill. There was an altercation between the victim and shooter. A 46-year-old male resident of Foxdale was reportedly shot several times. EMS personnel pronounced him dead on the scene. Police have not released his name, but identified him as a murder accused himself, out on bail. If you have any information that helps police, call 911, 919, or 328-TIPS. 3 men believed responsible for a series of similar crimes involving Haitian nationals are also behind bars thanks to police intelligence. The suspects are believed to be responsible for a spate of armed robberies, the attempted murder of a 62-year-old man, and the death of another 38-year-old male. They are being questioned for 8 crimes between February and July. All the crimes are involving Haitian nationals traveling to Haiti. Police say the victims were approached and robbed of cash by 2 men as they were leaving home. The suspects involved a 30-year-old Bahamian male from Newbold Street and 2 Haitian males ages 36 and 27. Police are questioning them about more suspected crimes. Meantime, police need your help in locating 3 men believed to be responsible for an armed robbery on Saturday. The crime happening around 10:15 in the morning outside a business on Adelaide Road, when a man was robbed of his cell phone by 3 other men armed with a cutlass. The suspect fled in a black Honda. Again, if you know anything that helps the police, call 919, 911, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. This string of violent murders in New Providence is affecting many communities thought to be peaceful. Many who live in communities in the South Beach are concerned about the uptick in these crimes. Just recently, there were 3 homicides in that constituency. Member of Parliament for South Beach, Bacchus Roll, admits to receiving calls from constituents concerned with the spate of violent crimes.
South Beach itself has maintained and built a reputation to be a quiet community, safe neighborhood, it is my intention to do all that we can to ensure that that reputation remains intact. There may be some concerns. I intend to, of course, as I said in the bulletin I put out earlier today, to walk those areas, listen to the residents of the various streets or areas, and of course, get their concerns written down.
Within 2 weeks, the body of a man shot to death was found on Blue Hill Road South. The week before that, 2 men were killed in the Summer Haven community.
I've spoken to the Minister of National Security today. We talked about, CCTVs along the beach, along the pool side, along the main roads, Blue Hill Road, East Street, and into the community itself. So we're looking at that. And of course, there is, saturation patrol is working, and we intend to have an uptick in that regard as well. The reality is we want our people to feel safe.
Employees at the Club Med Columbus Isles Resort in San Salvador are once again unionized. The Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union is set to become the bargaining agent for the 145 employees. The hotel closed in the COVID pandemic, and workers were unrepresented since it reopened. Union President Darren Woods making the announcement this week. As to the union, makes plans to visit the island this month.
The next step now is to send the information to the company to be processed, and the union will be on island on the 24th to conduct an agency shop poll, and that would be for the persons who have not signed up, who will be benefactors of the agreement, right? And then, of course, have a meeting with the members of there to put together an industrial agreement proposal to submit to the company. And we want to do this in the shortest possible time. That's why we're trying to turn everything around as quickly as we can.
Club Med's closure crippled the economy of San Salvador as the hotel was the main employer there. Labor Minister Keith Bell delivering their certificate of recognition on Thursday, opening the door for the hotel union to represent the workers again.
Well, initially, when we engaged the club prior to them opening, because we had a relationship with them and we wanted to start the dialogue in terms of opening, their response to us is, when you become the bargaining agent, we'll talk to you. And so it took us aback because we know we always had a relationship where we could talk. So we said, well, okay, we'll go get our certificate. And so we did what was necessary by the law to get the certificate. Out of the 170 plus persons, it's about 170, we got 145 who signed up. And so that tells me they want us. They need us.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, Family Islanders get the promise of more housing opportunities on the way. We'll tell you what was said. And it's college season. We'll tell you how one recruitment service is helping thousands of Bahamian students. Also, what you need to know if you still want to apply. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
March on, Bahama.
The Davis administration making a commitment to Family Islanders to bring affordable housing for first-time homeowners while passing along keys to the newest residents in Renaissance at Carmichael Village subdivision only days ago. Housing Minister JoBeth Colby Davis gave a commitment to the Family Islanders.
Luther has about 6 homes going up. Hopefully, we're hoping to go down there very soon to do a key presentation with those 6 homeowners. We have the 18 lots in Grand Bahama that we're going to be completing soon and clearing down the property and start building them. We're not sure how if we're going to use all of them as homes for sale or if we're going to hold some back and start a rent to own pilot there as well with that.
Hurricane Dorian left Abaconians in a real housing crisis. And while the rebuilding continues, Minister Colby Davis promises Abaco is next on our ministry's agenda.
We have some homes that we've purchased and did renovations to, and they're going to be the first start of our rent to own program. And then we have the new homes that were built in Abaco and Central Pines that we're going to be putting the new homeowners in. And then Spring City has some foundations, you know, the area where we had the Dome City, the foundations are going up there now. And then we're going to start doing the rest of the infrastructure on the property that was cleared down. And so we should have quite a few activity going on across the family islands with key presentations. Hopefully by before the Christmas holiday, I'm thinking we should be able to do a lot of them by then.
So you want to go to college, but you don't know where to start? Well, international recruiter and founder of Your Faith Recruitment Services, Alejandra Pinder, is ready and willing to help. After overcoming personal education obstacles, she founded her company 12 years ago, and since then, she's helped over 1,000 Bahamian students attend college in the United States. Pinder says step one is simply identifying a career path.
Diversifying themselves is one strategy that I use to help them prepare themselves. A lot of them think, oh my God, if I don't go in academic science or academic arts, it is impossible. I tell them, take this time to find yourself. It's not just about having fun extracurricular activities, but doing a lot of community service and stuff, showing schools that you are a contributor.
It's also important to think about the long-term goal.
Most of them will often say that when they return home, they might not have a job or something like that. And so what I tell them is you need to find out what is in the need of the Bahamas, who is in the key positions in those places, if any one of those people exists, and what can separate you apart that makes you special in that aspect.
Pinder cautions students to absolutely be aware of the content they're posting on social media.
Sometimes you see the kid, with the gun sign up, the middle finger up, smoking weed, and all of those different things, the bend down, the booty shaking. All of that actually speaks, I know sometimes they are young and stuff like that, but that also tell me, okay, if I do bring this student, is somebody who I would have to work hard in getting their character together, because jobs see this as an international student. When you're going to the U.S. Embassy, they too ask for your social media pages and stuff like that.
And although the American college system typically begins in August, Pinder says it's not too late to apply. However, parents need to be aware of the financial obligations.
Across the board in the Bahamian households is that, we can give funding. However, the budget has to be within the parent, real. And even if a student received the full scholarship, then that parent has to realize there is visas and plane tickets and stuff like that. And so it's not far out of reach. It is possible. But if they speak up and say what they can do, that also helps us understand how we can meet their needs.
Pinder's recruitment service has successfully helped Bahamian students obtain over $25 million in scholarships to accredited colleges. Let's play ball, and with some brand new equipment. The City of Freeport Council is making sure any future ball players in Grand Bahama get off to a good start. That council recently donating some sports equipment to a number of sporting teams on the island. Chief Councilor Fraser Gibson confirming the equipment was donated by the Florida Orioles, earmarked for kids playing baseball.
Several organizations on the island. We have schools who partake in such activities. However, they're limited in bats, uniform equipments, and the like. And so I want to also thank Councillor Marco Carey, who spearheaded this initiative on behalf of the council. I would like to thank Falco Export, who assisted us in storing, as well as Leslie's Trading, who partner with the City of Freeport Council in making all of this possible for all the organizations and all the schools here on the island.
Leaders of the various sporting teams in Grand Bahama say they are grateful for the donation.
We always talk about our kids and the future of our kids, and without the right gears, we won't be able to provide them with a better future. So we are so grateful to be here today to accept some of the gears that they have here. It will benefit our kids greatly.
And also with the upcoming memorial tournament in August, equipments are so hard to find, and it's always in desperate need of equipments.
We really appreciate it because the schools are really suffering. We haven't gotten any equipments in a very long time. Some schools are borrowing bats, gloves. We sharing bats, sharing equipment.
Well, the 6th edition of the Bahamas Games is officially a wrap. Our Jean Joseph has a check on the medal count. We may just have a new capital, Bahamas. Plus, NFL flag football comes to the Bahamas for the very first time. And guess what? It's not just a game for the men. And still to come, what a glad reunion day. Hear all about Pharaoh's journey home. This is coming up when our news returns.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off lab, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Welcome back. Grand Bahama claims victory in the 6th edition of the Bahamas Games, ending more than a week of competition in a number of disciplines. Some of the country's best in sports, whether up and coming or returning, performed for their islands and teams in the largest show of multiple sports events in the country in 2 decades. Our Jean Joseph has the recap.
After a nearly 20-year hiatus, the Bahamas Games returned just in time for the 50th anniversary of independence. For 8 days, teams from every major island and grouping battled it out to determine the country's athletic powerhouse. The Grand Bahama Lucayans emerged victorious with 191 medals. Grand Bahama dominated swimming and the final day's relay events, only missing out on a medal in the open men's 4x400 meter relays, which went to New Providence. Grand Bahama's medal haul included 91 gold, 59 silver, and 41 bronze medals. Second place finishers, New Providence Buccaneers, saw 20 more medals than Grand Bahama, 77, 74, and 60 respectively, but Grand Bahama's gold medal count put them on top. The most outstanding athletes came from Columbus Isles and New Providence, with the Arawak's Jasmine Mackey as the top female and the Buccaneers' Kenny Moxie Jr. clinching the top male spot. Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, says given the impact these games have had, they must continue.
What's happening in these games is something that you must see it happen again. It's like we look forward to Junkanoo every year. We must look forward to the Bahama Games every 3 years. And no matter which administration comes, has to understand the impact that it has on the future generation of this country.
Former sports minister, the late Peter J. Bettle, started the games back in 1989. Minister Boleg announced the next games for 2026. Acting Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, while applauding all teams, was especially excited for the Exumas Gold in women's basketball, the constituency he represents. He encourages the nation to see the game's true purpose, unifying the islands and upholding the spirit of athletics and sports.
Let us strive to carry the spirit of these games in our hearts. Let us remember the power of unity, the strength of community, and the resilience of the Bahamian spirit.
The games closed out in a final lap around the stadium with participants in a Junkanoo parade. And from all of us here at Our News, congratulations to all the participants. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jean Joseph.
Thanks, Jane. Of course, congratulations to Grand Bahama and to all of the athletes that participated. For the first time, the NFL held a flag football skills camp right here in the Bahamas, a first for the region and the Bahamas. It opened many doors, especially for young girls and women. NFL flag global ambassador Phoebe Schechter speaking with Our News about what it all means for females wanting to participate in the sport.
Football offers a position for everyone. No matter what your size or shape is, you have a role here. And the way that it's taken off for women, whether you're looking at what NFL teams are doing to support the growth of female in flag, even us as NFL flag, we have a Females in Flag initiative where we are just celebrating and highlighting all those incredible women around the world playing the sport. But it's a level playing field, right? Because from a young age all the way up, girls, it's a great way for us to show our leadership skills. It's a great way for, a lot of times we're more coordinated at that younger ages. So you've got a lower center of gravity and it really allows us to highlight our skill sets, but it gives us a place where we get to be ourselves.
For Jade Knowles, a player and a coach, it was a proud moment for the Bahamas to play host to the region for the NFL.
It's breathtaking to know that we are the staple point, that all of this is starting in the Caribbean, that everybody will be watching us and everybody will be wanting to do what we do in order to better themselves. So it's like I said, it's amazing. I can't say anything else. It's an opportunity I think everyone should take advantage of. And look out, flag football is literally here now.
While it's been a while since Bahamians have seen a performance from Golden Girl Debbie Ferguson McKenzie, the highly decorated sprinter turned coach recently made an appearance at the junior and senior track and field nationals. Although she isn't turning in world record times representing the Bahamas these days, she still has a keen eye on what's happening on the local scene. And from all accounts, she's happy with what she sees. Growing up, she idolized Pauline Davis, with whom she eventually shared an Olympic medal stand. Nowadays, young athletes have an array of stars to look up to, the likes of Shawnee Miller-Weibo, Anthony Strawn, and Devin Charlton. It gives her a lot to be proud of.
It's come a long way. And, to all our forefathers, the great Mr. Thomas A. Robinson and all the other greats, great trailblazers. Now, in my humble opinion, with the youngsters we have, they got to be able to get together and did what we also did. It's not just individual, but also about the team.
These days, she spends her time on the inside of the track as a coach. And as all coaches do, she's always in the market for new talent. The recent junior and senior nationals provided the ideal scouting opportunity.
I saw many prospects. One of the young men I could actually talk about, hopefully with Otto, he's actually applied and everything else, trying to work some stuff out. And then we have some of the youngsters coming up. I can't call their name, but we know they're very good. And so definitely in the future, I will hope to be able to bring them to Kentucky under distinguished leadership of a Bahamian, Coach Lonnie Green, and to be able to get some Bahamians to Kentucky.
And the heartwarming reunion story we promised you. Stay tuned to hear all about this special furry family member's return to his loved ones. Welcome back to Our News Weekend. And now it's time for a check on your weather forecast over the next few days. A beloved family pet is back home with his family tonight after being missing for 3 weeks. Our Marlena Leonard reports on the happy ending for this furry friend.
2.5-year-old Dutch Shepherd Pharaoh has had a long month. While you might not guess it from how happy he is now, he spent 3 weeks missing, somewhere in Nassau, after escaping from the family yard in June. One of his owners, Hope Shelley-Ann Ratliff, tells us it took a minute for her to accept Pharaoh was missing.
Well, I don't think the realization of that really hit me until the first
morning when he went missing, my brother Jerome called me and he said, Hopi, did you see Pharaoh? Because I'm the one that leaves out early. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I didn't see him, but I saw my other dog. I saw Pilot. I said, but I figured Pharaoh was just somewhere in the yard. And he said, we cannot find him. And I think the realization of everything hit me when I got to the gate and he didn't come. That's when it sunk in that, okay, he's really, really gone.
And she wasn't the only one missing him. His littermate, Pilot, was despondent, seemingly looking around the property for his brother. Hope quickly took to social media, posting regularly in multiple Facebook groups, hoping to find the family pet.
So I think I was in about 4 or 5 different pet groups. And I was determined just to post it every day. Even in my posts, it would seem as if I was talking to him because I just didn't want him to think that we were giving up. And I wanted for people actually to have an appreciation for the fact that we love our animals. And when they go missing like that, if you are an animal lover and you are a mother like I am, that's like you not knowing where one of your children are.
Early on, the family got a call.
One lead, we thought for sure we had found him. The dog wandered into her yard and she was able to contain the animal until Jerome got there. And my nephew went with him. And when I didn't hear back from him, I said, okay, it's not Pharaoh. It's almost like you're starting back over again.
But Hope persevered, and this week they got the call they were waiting for.
The call came in, and I was answering every phone number, whether it was a block number because I didn't know who was calling. And he said, yes, ma'am, are you the lady with the missing shepherd? So I said, yes. He said, I think I have your dog. I directed him here, and when we opened the door, at first he was really timid.
Pharaoh happy at home now, reunited with his brother Pilot and his favorite people. They say the next step is to get the duo microchipped. For those who helped in the search,
it was not until my son and my nephew came outside. And when he saw my son, see, my son is one of the ones like Jerome. They get on the ground and roll over and all of that stuff. So he jumped up on my son. And then when my other shepherd, his brother, because they're both from the same litter, when he came over, that's when he really started perking up.
reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
And what a touching reunion story. Thanks so much for that update, Marlena. And of course, a huge shout out to my folks on Grand Bahama for bringing home the gold from the Bahamas Games. Looks like the Bahamas has a new capital, at least for sports, that is. And with that, we say thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Have a safe and wonderful weekend.